financial goals. You want more money? Turn what you know into dough. Start hanging out with the people who have it. You create wealth on your own terms. It is not only your rights, but your duty to build wealth. You are fiscally fabulous, and it's time to enjoy your legacy.
You're listening to Fiscally Fabulous with Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire, a podcast that aims to provide you with the tools, guidance, and encouragement you need to build your wealth, enjoy your wealth, and leave a lasting legacy. Dr. Martin is an accomplished attorney, speaker, business consultant, and real estate strategist, an all-around self-made success who provides highly sought-after expert consulting in the creation, growth, and maintenance of generational wealth.
Well, welcome to the Fiscally Fabulous podcast, where we dive into the strategies and tools that empower you to achieve financial independence and success. You know who I am. I'm your host, Dr. T. And today we're joined by Anthony Williams III. He's the business development representative at Consumer Direct and Smart Credit. Anthony is here today to share his insights and innovative financial tools that help consumers and businesses navigate economic changes efficiently. So I want you to give a warm, resounding welcome to Anthony Williams. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you so much, Dr. Teresa, for having me. Appreciate you.
I am so excited about this because one of the things that I know right now in this economic environment is that people are really dealing with credit issues, not really understanding what they need to do. So before we dive in, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the credit industry?
Oh, and I know you have time limits. Let's start now. No, it's kind of a crazy thing. I was doing a little bit of a transition. I had done consulting for a long time for other companies, working in and out of the game industry. I'm a self-published author. And I had seen a job posting come up for another company. And I thought okay, I like challenges. This is pretty interesting, right? Because you're getting into the financial aspect, but you're also building partnerships with companies, right? And for the most part, what I do is I build with those individuals that are the businesses. Yes, I work with the end users, but more so working with the businesses. And so when I had started doing that, I'm like, that's aligned with what I've been doing, what I know. And so a company had given me a shot to get into it a couple of years ago. And from there, it was just really about me building the partnerships inside of this industry. With all the rapid changes that have been taking place over the last couple of years, that's kind of been the problem solving piece that I've had to provide is, okay, we can't do this. Okay, we can do this. Or how do we position this here? And how do we get it there? And, it's been a cool learning experience along the way as well.
Well, one of the things that you just mentioned is you don't really deal with the end user side. You really deal with more on the partnership side, right? But can you share a little bit about, Consumer Direct? And I know that Consumer Direct has been in the forefront of financial technology for over 20 years, right? So can you tell us about the mission behind Consumer Direct and the inception of Smart Credit?
It's funny that you bring up the mission part of it because there is some changes that are happening to the mission statements as Consumer Direct. Being around for 20 years in business, I've been working with them about 2. And in the last about 10 years, about 10 years, there's been a significant shift with the financial platform. So Consumer Direct has always been, this is important for people to understand, is Consumer Direct has always been a financial company. It's always been a financial technology company. And we are the people's first financial platform with patents and everything else along the way. So when you really think of Consumer Direct, people think credit reports or monitoring in that sense. It's actually, we provide the technology for individuals like yourself or other people who are running businesses to do it. It just so happens a large portion of our businesses that we work with happen to work in credit repair because of that demand that we fill. But on the other side of that, what Consumer Direct is doing is branching into new levels and new areas, whether it's real estate, whether it's mortgage, whether it's insurance, tax. I mean, there are so many different avenues that we can go through. It really is just about finding the right fit. And in every little piece that we go into, there's somebody who needs some sort of help. And there's an individual or a company that wants to provide that help. Well, then who better than Consumer Direct and the product of Smart Credit?
And that makes sense. And that sounds like so empowering because you've always been in the people's first, financial platform.
Yeah.
And I love that, with the patents and all. How does Smart Credit, differentiate itself from other credit monitoring, systems out there? Because the biggest thing is people don't know where to go. They don't know who to trust. You got all kinds of people saying, okay, get your credit report here and all this. Can you, just give us a little insight on how Smart Credit differentiates itself?
Yeah, so I really do appreciate that question because when people look at it, I think on the surface, they just say credit report and monitoring, right? Everybody's got that. Credit report monitoring. That's not the only thing. That's one layer. That's a surface layer of what we provide. So when you really dig down deep of what we do, we provide the financial platform that not only gives you a credit report or provides monitoring or anything along those lines, we're actually providing you with education. So in our platform, we have MyLona, which provides loans or ways for people to handle their debt. A lot of times guidance from individuals, whether it's like yourself, right? Or individuals that you work with, like they're guiding you along the way. Oh, you need a personal loan. Oh, you need to look at this. Like MyLona is there to satisfy that. So when I say financial platform, I'm not just talking, oh, we give you your credit reports and they look pretty. And then, okay, move on. Then we have Privacy Master, which is the ability for individuals to remove their personal information from data brokers. That's huge. That's your pre and post that you deal with when people are taking account takeovers or you're dealing with your information floating out there because you never even knew how it got there in the first place. Money Manager, right? Which is that, you connect your accounts, get real-time alerts, and you're able to calculate all of your assets, your money inside your banks, the running debt that you have, so you can actually work through and pay that down accordingly. Score Master, huge. Score Master is the ability for people to actually navigate through their credit reports. That's big. So that's providing the financial education. We have the tracking bar where you're able to say, okay, well, if I pay off $3,000 of this debt, what does my credit score look like? The future projections. One step further is in that same piece, when you move that bar, it moves and tells you which ones would be most advantageous for you to pay off early to give you the best score. Wow. So, when we're working with individuals that are knowledgeable and have their consumers' best interest at hand, you can see how powerful that can be.
And there's definitely a lot of misconceptions out there because people think that, okay, I can just remove this off my credit report, because that's what people are selling. I can just remove this off my credit report and now, I can go get the house, I can go get the car, or things of that sort. So it just seems like you help with that.
Let me add one little piece to that because you mentioned something really important. You said, I'm going to go buy a house. Well, last year, in auto and home, and this is important because I think when people listen to this, they need to understand why this means what it means, right? So last year alone, we saved over $2.3 billion between auto and the housing market. And what did we do? We saved on interest. So our users in the Smart Credit platform, because they fixed their credit, went from a 580 or 680 or 650, it doesn't matter. They increased past whatever that little threshold was for them, and it saved on insurance. Average for home mortgage, saved over $75,000 of interest.
Wow. And that's a big deal because that's money.
30 years, but people look, your kids are not taught that. I know we've had this conversation before briefly, going over this. And I know obviously with, the show that you'll be putting on and different things that you do, this is important. But when you're able to save 75 grand, depending on where you live, not California where I am. I mean, that's like 1/8, right, of like a normal home at this point. It's
exactly.
But depending on where you live, $75,000 could effectively be about 25% of what your mortgage is. So, when people are looking at that going, what? Yeah, I'll take 1 year's salary for most people.
Right.
That I'm going to save. I got an extra year of not having to work. That money's there. I'll take. People don't look at that. Kids are not being taught that. Right. Okay, let's go for lowest monthly payment right now. Right. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to go for lowest monthly payment, but I'm not thinking 10, 15, 20 years down the line. So if I can never think 10, 15, 20 years down the line, I'm never thinking outside of this box.
Right.
I'm in the trench. I get put in that debt hamster wheel, that comes along. Look, personally, I've gotten into it as well. Lost a lot of stuff, whether you're talking 2020 or different surgeries that had to happen. People have life events. Life happens on life's terms. We can't necessarily control that. But what we can do is be somewhat fiscally responsible and start to think of these things in that way. It's changing that mindset.
And when you mention that, Anthony, one of the things that I'm thinking about right now is that when in the digital age, I think that this is fantastic. People need to be able to, go on and do the My Loaner and all the things that you just mentioned. But one of the things that I have found in my clientele is freaking customer service.
Oh,
okay. It's like mind-boggling. They get you into these platforms. I am so confused on this is not working. How do I find this? Can you just speak to SWAT credit and consumer direct in light of customer service, please? Speak to that.
I honestly feel as if you're teeing me up at this point, because one of the things when I said that I worked, at a different place prior, I left that company because of technology and customer service. That was my reason to sparking a conversation with the team at Consumer Direct, period. And so I saw that up front. I want my partners, the businesses I work with, I don't care if it's an end user or a partner, what is the level of care that's being brought? And when you talk with partners of ours at Smart Credit or individuals that work with us or have worked with us, they're going to tell you that they buy the people. The platform's great, but they buy us. So like you've experienced and others will experience, you not only get me, you're also getting a partner support rep right behind me that, hey, when you want certain technical things, just email them. They're an email away and you're getting a response within 1 hour most of the time, right? Or you're getting it within 1 to 2 hours. If I've talked to you, I'm passing that message along or I'm answering the message directly. You got a billing question? Go talk to billing. You're not being put in some, random like this just queue of nothing.
Exactly.
I hear horror stories with companies, with partners that, they do good business. And I think that this is something that is a little bit different maybe than what people were expecting me to say, but I'm going to say it because I think it's really pertinent is Smart Credit. We don't look at our partners as what have you done for me today? And I think that that's critical because the partnerships that I've nurtured and the partnerships that I've helped gain and grow in that nurturing effect, I've never once opened up a phone call or had a phone call with them going, hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing this? I don't like conducting my business that way because I don't like being spoken to that way, right? Oh, I'm just another cog in the wheel. No. How can I actually help you? Right? Is there something you need from me, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a marketing asset, whether it's just language that you can use? What do you need? We are a partnership. Yes, we have agreements. Yes, we have boundaries. Yes, we have certain things that are there. We have to work together. This whole thought process that I've heard, and this is why I told you, customer service and technology. When you talk with these other places, I've heard horror stories. Oh, I work with this company. We've used them. And it's like, I just get put into this queue channel. And it's like, I'll just get a message at some point. Maybe not even today, maybe tomorrow. You make us money, right? I can't answer your call. There's not somebody in this 200-person company that can answer your question, it blows my mind. But that is the reason why I've been with Smart Credit. And that's the reason why, Consumer Direct overall won me over. And if you win me over, then I am more than happy to have conversations with other people about what you can do for them. We got to think about this for people who are listening to this that are jobs out there. When you have to fake selling something to talk to people, you're never going to be really good at it. When you truly believe in the company and the people behind you, other people believe in that. The attraction rather than promotion, right? Like, wow, they're working together. They have a good relationship. They have normal conversations. Yes, we have to meet bills. We have to pay bills. You want to make money. You want to provide the best product to your customers. I want that too. Tell me what I need to do so you can do that.
Welcome to RIA NYC, where eager to learn entrepreneurs become wealthy and happy to teach investors. Nothing happens until you decide to change your life. Oh, and do it in great company. Call us today and build your empire.
And that's the biggest thing too, Anthony, as I'm listening to you, because the biggest thing is the education. And a lot of times, you're as good as your last transaction, right? And that's how some people kind of view it, right? And from the attorney standpoint, from the real estate standpoint, from the business standpoint, it's about, people before profits. Because people, when they come to deal with their credit, my husband always says it's like their keys. They never think about it until they got to go somewhere, right? Yep. And, credit is like the last thing people want to talk about, and it's not sexy. People are trying to make it sexy, right?
It's embarrassing. No, it's embarrassing. Why? Because you just touched on it. And this, I'm so happy you said that. They forget about it like keys, right? But on the other hand, it's the one thing that they feel makes them look stupid. And I hate that term necessarily of just stupid. You could say ignorant. It's showing somebody else they made a mistake somewhere. Right? It's that self-reflection, right? So that's where that person who's handling it to them is so integral, because they trust them to look at their mistake. That's what it is. And it might not even be a mistake that they could have avoided. Correct. See, it's just a blemish of some sort that they need to figure out. And so that's where you're saying that trust, that nurture is so important for people like yourself, your husband, other individuals that are out there, because people are buying you. They're buying that support to not feel like another transaction, period.
Exactly. And when you said the report, that's the biggest thing, because even for me, I always tell people, I went from, a 780 to a 437, no fault of my own. Right. Yeah. Obviously, don't let the ESQ fool you. Right. Because there are things that happen. Right. There's things that happen to everyone. Right. Yeah. And so the whole thing is, I didn't want the credit report to tell my entire story. It was telling a story, but it wasn't the entire story. And so when you now walk through with a client on Smart Credit or otherwise, it's important to just see what other people are seeing, because it may not be your entire story. So you need to make sure you're monitoring, see what is out there and what's being said about you, because some things may be true, but it's not accurate. And there's a difference between truth and accuracy, right? Yeah. And so that's how, we have to look at the credit report, and people get ashamed. And I'm like, there's no shame until you now start owning that, because we all have issues that we need to deal with. Lost jobs, 9/11, COVID, there's so many different things, divorce, foreclosure, all kinds of things.
Oh, wait, right? Yeah. Look at every couple years, there seems to be some sort of financial catastrophe that takes place in some way, shape, or form, right? And if you think about this way back, even as the credit bureaus were coming together, we had war, right? Like war is what changed things for people. Right. They were in the military, like that was the differentials for them. Then you start coming into this technology age where things can be done as a push of a button, and it's set it and forget it, like a gym membership. Right. So before they know it, they're paying on stuff that they forgot that they've been paying on For what? Then you cancel that. Then you have accounts because I got to be the next coolest, best app that I'm going to go into or be part of, or I want to but you don't clear that footprint. So now your information is just out there. As of today, the two trusted companies that we're supposed to think have everything together, AT&T and Microsoft, got hacked. PlayStation's been hacked. The DOJ's been hacked. Your information, I don't care who you talk to, if you are not consistently paying attention to your digital hygiene, whether it's through monitoring, whether it's through some form, whether it's through the credit reports, whether it's making sure that your information is correct where you have it, or cleaning out accounts that you don't need anymore. If you're not doing that, you're not being responsible to yourself.
I agree. I love that digital hygiene. I'm going to definitely use that. Because what you mentioned, and I'm going to say, it's not going to be whether you do monitoring. You need to do monitoring. Correct. Monitoring is, like your insurance. Just like you pay your life insurance and you go to the doctor, you need to have monitoring because you need to know who is hacking into your stuff. You need to know what's being reported on you.
My name is Anthony Williams. There is 9 million of them. Okay. Like if you know what I'm saying? Like, so when you have a name, go have a name of the last name Smith. Go there are so many of them. It's not unique. It's so easy to blur lines between information that they pull. That is very important for people to understand. Your name might, Anthony J. Williams, right? You said the third. The reason why I put the third is because my son is the fourth. My father was the second. And you would be surprised through our Privacy Master app on how many people they find Anthony Edward Williams, Anthony Jackson Williams, Anthony Luttrell Williams. I'm like, I am not these people. But that likeness of name, now turns it into this bucket that I'm going to ask somebody else to filter. Let me do it for you. That's not me. Remove it.
Exactly. And people don't understand that, just that basic piece, what you just mentioned, the juniors, the seniors, the thirds, the second, all that makes a difference, but it has to be consistent. It has to be consistent. You can't do it, just Anthony Williams or that application or report or whatever, and also use Anthony and Williams the third on this one, because now you've caused the confusion, right? And when they post the application, they're going to show you that, this is what you reported and this is why it's reported this way. I tell people, let's just look at your reports. Let's not start fixing everything to be consistent across the board. But you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? So I think that's the important piece.
That's the hardest part. You don't know because I always say this, and I have two of my own, and they are not taught anything in any way of being financially responsible. I wasn't. I was playing semi-professional hockey. I had nobody to teach me how to play that hockey. My father was a truck driver. My mother worked at a bank, then was a stay-at-home mom to take care of 3 kids, right? And we were median class, man. We didn't have anything special. We had what we needed. Right. We saved up for what we wanted.
Right.
Like in that side, like so many people grew up that way. We didn't have all this extra. We weren't driving these fancy cars. We were getting VCRs when they came out, if I'm dating myself on that. Right. Like we're not like the kids now. My kids get everything within, a certain point. It's a fault of my own because I want to give that to them. I've worked hard for that. Right. We want them to be happy. We want them to experience that. But like you and I growing up, we didn't get those things that way. Right. It was different in that sense. But still, even when I was growing up, they weren't putting this focal point on balance your checkbook and then go through here. Right. And being a kid who's born in the 80s, I was there through all of that technological boom, through all that digitalization, right? Through the internet, through the web, through all those changes, now apps, right? Everything's going through this. Everything goes through this. It's at your fingertips. And that's part of the problem is that it's so easy for you to be careless. And that's where somebody like yourself and what you provide and the education, even from a podcast like this, where people then just change perspective. Now it's just, I'm thinking about.
Right.
Right. It's not like you have to change all those behaviors all the time. You just have to introduce and plant the seed in perspective. Because now people will sit back and go, my kid uses my phone when I watch my other child play baseball. What did they go on? Let me look.
Right.
We started that conversation. That's one that got us both to chuckle was, wait a second. My kid uses my phone. Yeah, you didn't think about that, did you?
Right.
On stuff that you would have never gone on. Even though you go, okay, that's site safe, your data is now there.
Wow. That is something that makes you go,
for you. This will blow your mind because this is right up your alley. Go to a hotel. When you leave the hotel, if a hacker or someone is trying to gather your information and then you take it home into your home network without anything being cleaned, scrubbed, or protected, you have now brought it into your home network.
wow.
Device is susceptible in your home network.
Wow. That's
So now that's the importance of cleaning that digital hygiene, the footprint, because you don't know where your stuff is. It's once again, how does Microsoft? Microsoft is supposed. I turn on my computer. Microsoft says you have an update so you don't get hacked. You just got hacked. You know what I mean? Like that's the part, right? That I laugh at.
right.
It is about mitigation when you really think about it. How quickly can you clear that threat? How well do you clear the streets? Think of a snowstorm. How well do you clear your sidewalk and your driveway so you can get in and out?
Wow. Yep.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. You still might fall, but you lowered the risk. You mitigated the risk. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. So if someone is going on to Smart Credit, what are some of the first steps that they should take, once they sign up with Smart Credit? Because we just talked about Privacy Master and all the things that they have. But what steps should they take?
Well, probably contact somebody like yourself, right? Or someone who offers the Smart Credit platform. Yes, we offer the platform, but if you're an individual signing on, yes, there's tons of information in there, but I'm always an advocate to work with somebody that you trust because you can have very in-depth conversations and you can create a narrative around some of the things that you do find on that credit report. There are individuals, like I said, yourself, your husband, who have been doing this for so long, you can pick through, right? If you ever looked at a credit report, it's kind of gross. That's why we make them look pretty, right? If you've ever actually looked at like a real credit report, it's gross. It's like looking at an accordion folder for some people. I think the best ways to go about it is honestly work with one of the professionals that offer Smart Credit, because all it is a clickable link. It's a clickable link to sign up and get into platform. That's how easy it is. There's nothing to it. So the reason why we push and work with so many credit repair agencies and companies or individuals is because they provide the care on that human level, one with the individuals using the Smart Credit platform. And like I said earlier, everything that we do reinforces what you are educating them on. We're educating them in the background on the stuff that you're educating them in that very difficult conversation at some points.
And one of the things I just want people to understand what we're saying is like, yes, you can get the tools. There's a lot of tools, platforms, resources out there, but there's a difference between education and actually coaching and consulting, right? Coaching is going to say, rah, 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 here's what you do, lead you through the process or whatever. Yep. Consultants are going to help you walk through the process, and make sure that you're not, stepping on the landmines that either themselves or their other clients have done, right? So I just like people to understand, yes, you can do it yourself. Yes, I can cut my hair myself, but I don't, right? But
Yeah. So you just made a really good point, because I think that's where people get confused. And maybe a better answer to your question is the disputing process is a totally different process. So when people think about smart credit, yes, you're thinking about that. But once again, when you make a dispute to the bureau, that has to be a personal dispute. So smart credit can help you understand in those lines, but there's people who've been doing this for years that give you proper language of how to dispute that to your case personally. That's the biggest difference. That's the value that someone like yourself and your husband provides, because they're providing that story and narrative that the bureau needs to see to okay removing that information or changing what's on that report. I think people, I did before totally understanding was like, okay, customer's always right mentality, right? So like if I have something and I go to that bureau and say, you're wrong, like that bureau's going to fight to tell me that I'm wrong because they have all of this data.
Right.
So when I go back to them, I need to provide them an accurate narrative of why this should not be this way.
Right.
Right. Get it handled. And that's don't even get into like collections and all that. The weight is worth gold when you find somebody that you can trust that can help you navigate some of those difficult decisions that people face, because it's painful, it's hurtful. It's one of those in some ways that, sometimes people just say, screw it. What do I need my credit for? Until 10 years later, something comes out to bite them. And that's where I think like the services that you provide and the people that you surround yourself with and the people that you educate to provide those same services, there's not even a price, for the services that people offer in that, like just what they provide to other people. That comfort, that ability to get those changes and make them happen is invaluable. And I think that, people like yourself are really doing the hard work, because it is not an easy business. It is a very, very hard business in that sense when it comes time to that kind of consulting. It's very difficult.
And it's hard when you're thinking about, and when you mention that, I always tell people, I'm like, if you're price shopping, then please don't come to me. Okay. Because I don't do the price thing. Okay. I do the value add. You come to me, finances is one of the largest pieces of your life, right? It deals with everything. So it's like, you wouldn't go on a date. You might go on a date, but you wouldn't marry someone who was cheap. Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't, they was going to cut corners, and they're going to take you to Mickey D's versus a nice restaurant. So why would you come to a consultant who is helping you, with your life decisions? You're looking at them from a cost perspective. Don't do that to me, because what you're doing is you are disrespecting me, and you are disrespecting yourself, because what you're saying is, I don't value myself enough to get the right information at the right time with the right person to help me do it. That's what they're really doing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I don't want people to disrespect themselves. So that's why I tell people, stop price shopping, okay? Because that's not what you want when it's coming to your financial decisions, right?
I think to your point is the other aspect that probably touched people with this is there's always a bad apple in an orchard. And I think when people sit back and you really sit back and think about it in the credit industry, there haven't been as many bad apples as people want to portray. But the bad apples that have been in, have taken people for a ride. And I think when people see that, it makes them go like this, right? Because once again, they're not educated from a young enough age to understand the value that someone like yourself and your team put together, period. So when they go into this, it's the quickest link, the quickest article, right? And now it's bad apple. Oh, okay, now I have leverage.
Right.
Person and screwed up those people. I'm not them. That association across the board, that can go somewhere else. When we start dealing with credit and with smart credit, think about 20 years. Imagine the cycles in 20 years that smart credit's seen, from total analog to total digital.
Right.
And And now you're looking at it where it's, okay, I get everything on this platform. I got a financial platform that gives me everything. That's amazing. But what do I do now?
Right.
Right. You know, it's always that picture, right? Where it's like that little gap like that. It's like, are you going to make the jump? Right. I want to make that jump holding your hand. I don't want to push you across there because that's what the internet does. I want you to make that jump and never come back again. But how many horror stories do you hear of people going through that we fixed this and they're back in 2 years? Sometimes you can't fix that. That's just going to happen. But I'll tell you what, you've gotten those testimonials. You've gotten those emails. You've gotten those text messages or phone calls thanking you because you literally changed that person's life. You've changed the trajectory of their life. You've changed the happiness trajectory in their life. You've saved marriages. You've saved relationships. What about the parents that have used their kids' social numbers? Right? Like, just the look on your face right there we've had, but you've changed lives. We could talk about $500, $600, $1,000 to fix yourself. What are you worth? And what are you worth to keep doing it?
Right. Right.
Generational Wealth Zone is the leading resource center for driven female entrepreneurs. Join our supportive community and benefit from expert consulting and a mastermind group of like-minded winners. The future successful professional has a business coach, and the future is here, period. EnjoyYourLegacy.com.
And before I let you go, because this is something that always comes up, Anthony, there's some platforms that give you Vantage scores. There's some platforms like FICO 8, FICO 10. Like, what should people? It's like they come to me. I'm like, okay, they got a credit card report, and this one is different from that one. What should they be looking at when it comes to Vantage versus FICO 8 versus FICO 10? What's the plan?
Yeah.
What should they know? It's just too complex for them. What could you tell them?
I had to keep it very simple because I may be smart in some things and probably not very smart in others. And getting into credit with so many different, like we said, levels, right? That's there. Vantage score and FICO score are obviously important for their own reasons.
Okay.
Vantage score and FICO score, it's sometimes, depending on the accuracy of what's being reported, could be dead even within a couple of points of each other. Sometimes they could literally be a difference of 30, 40 points.
Yes.
Depending on the accuracy. If you are doing credit repair, there's nothing wrong with a Vantage score. It provides you everything you need to go to that route. Now, a FICO score is important if you're going to look, obviously, for auto, home, right? Get pre-approvals in that and find out, because those are the metrics, and the FICO scores are what mortgage companies are going to base their decisions upon. That's it. So if you're going with somebody and they're forcing you into a FICO model, I would just ask the question is, why do we need that now? Because it's usually more expensive. And I don't mind paying that when I understand the true purpose of why it's being used. Now, if I've got a bad credit score today, I don't need a FICO score right now. I want to work with Vantage. I want to build it. Let's get it where it needs to go. And then when I am ready to purchase, now I'm going to check that FICO.
Got it.
Now, here's the cool thing. Consumer Direct has smart credit that's based off of Vantage scores. We also now have the lending score, which is a pure FICO product. Now, I want to be very clear. This is amazing. FICO wants its independence. So FICO wants its scores completely separate from Vantage scores. That's why I tell people this is the way to do it. Now, if you want to offer a pure FICO product, we have the lending score. That's the actual name. If nobody ever got that, it's actually the lendingscore.com. Nobody took that name, which is mind-boggling, okay? But that's the pure FICO product. You want soft pull, pre-approval. And that's the other thing, real quick, soft pulls. Soft pulls do not damage your credit, but please, 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 please consult with individuals, because yes, when it comes down to FICO or Vantage, you get time, especially FICO. You get like 2 weeks or so up to a month to actually shop for large purchases, home or over a certain number. But if you do not purchase after that point, whether it's auto or home, you're going to have an inquiry that goes into the last major inquiry that you have. Inquiries are not bad until you don't execute on the inquiries, right? Because too many inquiries is a problem. You become a risk, right? So this is where you need the consultation from the professional. But just setting this up for everybody, do not get wrapped around the axle between FICO and Vantage yet. If you have a poor credit score, fix it. When you are going to purchase something large, as a home or a car, boat, RV, now you need to look at FICO. When you are fixing it, fix it with Vantage, save money, let your professionals do their job and guide you, then take the step. Do it in steps. Stop jumping from first step to the 10th step. You're going to fail. And you're going to confuse yourself, and you're going to find yourself right back where you were until you do it in the order that it should be. That's the best way I can explain it.
Man, Anthony, you broke that down flawlessly. Okay, so I know you said you may not be the smartest one, but I was looking at that right there was the cost of admission. That's what I'm saying. That was like, and I hope all the listeners took that, because that's the whole thing. People are like, Vantage, FICO, what difference does it make? If you're actually fixing what you need to fix, and like Anthony, what you mentioned about, wait, if you got poor credit, challenge credit, and you need a little bit of, improvement or recovery on that, then, let's just wait on the FICO because it's more expensive. And like Anthony mentioned, let's just get with the professionals to help you do what they do, okay, to help you, right? So lastly, because I don't want to hold you up, but I definitely want to make sure that before we end, I want to know, what piece of advice would you give to anyone looking to improve their financial health today, starting from today?
Get a smart credit account. I mean, that's, it's a shameless plug. But the reason why is because of the monitoring. And I think, with smart credit platform plus Privacy Master, being able to control where your personal information is, I think is phenomenal. The other aspect right along the lines of that, get with you, get with your team, and get with somebody who represents from your team or conducts their business like your team, because that advice and guidance is, like we've been saying, invaluable. But when somebody needs to fix their credit, I think you just need to get honest first. That's step one. Step one is getting honest. Step two is accepting it. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you're never going to be successful. Because if you really think about this, and this took me a minute to digest, change your perspective on who you are and what you're trying to do. Because some of the most famous and richest and most wealthiest people that are out there had the crappiest credit when they got started. Okay? You can look at anybody. If you think their credit was amazing, somebody lied to you. Not everybody grows up with all the stars aligned and the pathway paved for success. You see that because that's what they want you to see. Exactly. See the end of the journey because that's what we're conditioned with the internet. Most people don't understand that those overnight successes took 5 to 10 years to be overnight. Exactly. So if you can keep that perspective, then the perspective is, if they could do it, you can do it. And with the guidance of a professional like Dr. T, and I am so blessed, honestly, to be here and do this with you, and to be part of what you're rolling out in the next couple of months and to be part of your vision, I can't thank you enough. So it's not you thanking me for coming here. It's allowing me to yap away and just talk about the things that I've seen, because if it's going to provide any value for you or your team, it's not even a question. I'm more than happy to do it.
Thank you. Anthony, thank you for sharing, your insights and your innovative tools with Smart Credit and everything that, your platform offers, and the partnership and the support that you provide to, your partners. And you've provided our listeners with valuable knowledge and credit management that it can really make a difference in their financial journey. So I am so excited that you were here. I'm so glad to be, considered one of your partners. And I just want people to understand that it doesn't matter where you are today. It matters what you do from today, right? And so where can our listeners find more information about you, about Smart Credit, and how they can now, start on their journey?
Yeah, so smartcredit.com is the easiest one. You can go to consumerdirect.com. You can go to thelendingscore.com. The Lending Score will have the FICO product. Smart Credit is obviously our Smart Credit platform. Smart Credit's inside the App Store. It's on Apple. It's on Android. It's easy. It's you can get it by your phone. But also too is, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Talk with Dr. T, because she's a partner of ours. Let her guidance push you onto our platform, and please provide us with any feedback that you find. If people are finding that they want something else or they don't, I'm more than happy to hear it. Also, here's another part. We just did the deal for rental reporting as well, which is huge. Huge. I have rental reporting, and I wanted to drop that out for your people. So if there are people out there who are offering Smart Credit and are interested, please guide them. We would love to work with those landlords or renters. They don't have to be a landlord. They could be a renter. And you can start reporting that rent to improve your credit health. And that's one of the things I've been working on for the last year and a half. It's been a year and a half to go through all that red tape, and I'm so happy. But it's a way for people to improve their credit history, and add to their credit reports to improve their scores. I am so happy that we have that now, and we have it. So please let me know.
That is absolutely fantastic. And that's through the Smart Credit platform. That's another.
No, so if what I say is this, if you have people who are interested, if you have a real estate group or landlords or tenants, you come talk to me and I will provide on how we work that. We have a special deal with the rental reporting company where we can get that together and directly integrate into your platforms, not just ours.
Awesome. Oh, this has been amazing. Fantastic. Thank you again, Anthony, for joining us today. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to Fiscally Fabulous Podcast, Fiscally Fabulous everywhere that you see it, and leave us a review. And until next time, I want you to stay Fiscally Fabulous.
This has been Fiscally Fabulous with Dr. Teresa R. Martin, Esquire. If you would like to learn more on how you can build generational wealth and leave a lasting legacy, go to www.enjoyyourlegacy.com and be sure to subscribe. Thank you for listening. Until next time.